this is Optimus coming to you with another video review. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Jetfire. For the package, much like all of the new Studio Series figures, it has that nice Transformers text. You can see this is from the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen film. You got the Studio Series number 35, up-close image of Jetfire. Got an open display that fully showcases the figure within. Come around to the side, you have a very up-close image of Jetfire. And then on the opposite side, a little bit more pulled-back image of him. Showing him all kind of dilapidated, crouched over, and using his cane. And then when you come to the back of the package, you got a nice image of him in his robot as well as his vehicle mode. He comes with a backdrop, which is of the Pyramid Desert Battle. And it says, Jetfire makes the ultimate sacrifice, heroically giving up his parts to restore and strengthen Optimus Prime. And the thing that is really nice about this guy is this figure actually can combine with the new recently released Studio Series 32 version of Optimus Prime. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Jetfire opened up out of his packaging and obviously in his SR-71 Blackbird mode. And this is a really pretty solid looking toy. From the top section here, one thing I will talk about is that it feels like some of these panels have a hard time lining up. That just might be me getting things properly aligned around here, but you can kind of see like these little sections here don't really sit too flush for me. I mean, you can kind of push them down and I can like feel it kind of sit there, but then it pops out. I mean, it's not terrible, but I wish it would. I mean, like you can, like I said, you can kind of squeeze it and hold it there, but it just kind of just shifts right back. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but the overall look of the piece is really good, at least from the top. This definitely looks like a Blackbird. You got the nice red lines on here. It's all black, which obviously it should be. I do like that they got nice window detail up here. You can see it's a slightly off bluish color. You got some little red markings and warnings and things like that underneath. Got a big yellow dot. I thought that was a little bit silly, so I actually looked it up and bringing in an image of the SR-71. There's the yellow dot right there. So I guess it's accurate, but that's a lot bigger of a dot. But from the top section here, he looks fine. But obviously, from the side, well, not even so much from the side. I mean, you can kind of see it cleans up pretty good. But from the bottom, you can basically just see it's a robot on the bottom, which I'm okay with. There's no real way that you're going to be able to do this and get it, entirely accurate looking, but at least like, from the top section, it looks pretty cool. And if you wanted to display it, you could like use a little like stand or something. You can kind of elevate it like there in the background or something. You're not going to display it like that. But even from the bottom, obviously you see his hands right here, but they do a pretty good job of kind of getting everything in there to look less like a robot, I suppose. I guess the biggest standout would be this piece right here, which is going to be his head. I mean, these are his little whiskers on the side that just kind of hang off here and you kind of tuck them along. That looks a little bit ugly. But honestly, the Blackbird was basically just what you see on the top. I mean, it was a very thin, obviously it was a stealth jet, and this would definitely not be very stealthy because radar would be able to bounce off of all these angles all day long. But like I said, basically the actual jet is just what you see. Like if you were to cut along here and cut all that robot stuff off, that's basically the jet. So there really wasn't going to be a lot of places that you could hide that stuff. But he's a leader class figure. For a size comparison, here he is with the leader class Megatron. You can see both of them are very large. The one thing that I will say is Megatron is, while about the exact same length, there's a lot more hollowness to this. The engineering on this isn't overly impressive. This is, and really does give a very good leader class feel. Bringing in another vehicle, here we have a Voyager class Optimus Prime, so you can see kind of how that scales all together. This is going to be the one from the first Transformer movie that will combine with this. If you guys are looking forward to a combination section, I'm going to do that separately, just because obviously this video is probably already going to be fairly long and I don't want to add more to it. But you can see just how big this guy gets. And then for another one, here we have him with Bone Crusher. You can see how that basically scales, and just because I got this guy here in vehicle mode, here's the World War II Bumblebee. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, that works. I dig it. For his accessories, he does come with 2 on the bottom section. It stores. This is his axe. I'm going to remove this because we're going to have to do it for transformation anyhow. This is the axe that he used when he swooped in to kill... was it Ravage? Killed somebody. But when he swooped in, he transformed and he used this and he hacked some Decepticons. And this is how we did it in my day. So you have that. He also does, well, you have some landing gear here. I'm going to tuck those up underneath for the transformation. And then the other landing gear here in the front section, it just kind of plugs in here, not very securely. There's a little slot. And then it just kind of wedges in there. It's not an overly secure sort of thing. It just kind of sits in there. But you remove that and you can transform this. This will become his cane. Fairly simple, but looks really nice. Nice paint detail on there. You got a gray section up here. You got a black section down there. So obviously, you know, he needs to walk around. So we have that, but that's really about it for his accessory. So I do like they have storage for it. Obviously, though, if you take this one out, you're not going to be able to land them too well. But again, looks pretty good. Has all the details and markings. We got Skunk Works. That's all the different things that you would expect on a Blackbird are basically here. And then for a jet transformer, you have the robot on the bottom. So yeah, it's basically what you've come to expect with a jet transformer. Alright, now let's get this transformation going. First, come around here to the bottom here. You got these little soft, flexible pieces. Go ahead and just pull those off from the underside of the wing. Do that on both sides and just kind of let them dangle just like that. Come around to this top section. Basically, you then just want to take the front section and back and split it just like so. Come to this entire back panel and kind of reach in here and wiggle this loose, and you got some hinges right here in the back that you can bring this all the way back, and then you can take these and lift these up. Just kind of push those in a little bit, and then you can swivel those out and get those kind of out of the way. And then take this piece, you want to hinge this back, and then you have a little locking sort of tab right there, and so little posts. Bring that all the way back, push that in, and lock that into place just like so. Come to this front section, you can bend that a little bit, and then take these, separate this, hinge this out about as far as you can get it, because you're going to need a little bit of clearance here to hinge things around. Come to these side pieces, you can extend those out. Again, just get those out of the way. Come here to the underside, you got the arms. You can swivel these out. They tab in along the side, and it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get them back in there, but right now it's pretty easy. You're just pulling them out just like so. Come down here to the bottom section here. You can rotate these around. You don't have to close this all the way. You can just kind of leave it right there. Again, it just kind of helps clear out a little bit of space, and then you're going to start bringing this piece down. It's going to do some hinging, and you can see you can kind of get it in a accordion sort of shape. But first, come around here to this piece, detach the under section and this top bit, and then take this front portion of the jet, bend this, don't split it. You want to keep it together still, but fold that down and then fold this down just like so. Keep all that kind of tabbed together, and then you're going to bring this around. This is why I kind of said you want to leave that a little spread out so that you can fit this down and around. So as you bring this together, you're going to accordion all of this, and before you completely compress it all, bring this towards the back here. It gets a little bit tricky, but it just all accordions in, and then you can see you get the back section here and there. Make sure you bring this forward a little bit. It will slot all the way down, kind of locking into place there. Get that out of the way, get that out of the way. Make sure all of this is collapsed, and everything will squeeze in and actually kind of tab together in some spots on the inside. If you have this compressed completely like I have it right here, everything should tab in very easily. And then you can just take these, you can play with these here in a little bit, do whatever you want. And then we're going to bring these legs down. So bring these down, you can split these a little bit, and this is where you want to really kind of push that, lock that in. Come down here to the underside here, fold this piece out like so, and then extend this whole section down and around, and then you can fold this piece out as well. Come to the side bit here. This can get a little bit tricky, but you just lift this. Again, it's on a little accordion joint. Accordion it up and then shift it towards the inside there. And then get this out of the way. And then you can take this, rotate that all the way to the back. And then from here, rotate the leg all the way around like so. And then these, you're going to basically just accordion this and bend this up and in. Then take this whole section, fold this. This, you're going to basically want to completely contort this, because if you remember, he was pretty much a cripple looking, so that really helps out. Then come around here to the bottom, fold out the other side of his foot. Do that on this side as well. So again, fold this down. Take this entire section. You can angle this down like so. Come to this side bit here. You want to slide this first out and then up. You can fold that and bring that all the way up on the side of his thigh, just like that. Then you're going to spin all this around, getting that around just like so. Then you can take this, fold this down, hinge this back. This is going to spin down. And then this whole thing rotates towards the back like so. And then again, you bring all this up, accordion that along the bottom, fold out that piece. Basically, you see his whole body coming together. We're going to angle up just a little bit, just to kind of clean things up. You're going to take his head, bring that down, take these. These are soft rubbery pieces, but they are on hinges there. So just fold that out just like so, and come down here to these arms. Open them. These pieces here stay up there, and then you rotate his arms down at this section. So you do have like an extra, I guess, shoulder joint, but that really doesn't do anything. I do wish it would lock into place. The best, oh no, it actually does. I'm sorry. So bring this up. You got a little slot right here that this tabs into. So bring that all the way up, and that locks in along the side of his head, and then bring that down. Then you can bring this, rotate his hand, do that on this side as well. Bring this up on a hinge, lock this piece in towards the top. There we go. Bring that down, rotate that. Get these kind of lifted up out of the way. You got these little rubber pieces now. You want to bring these around, and you got a little slot section in tab right here on the inside of his torso. That literally all you do is you bring this in. You got the little slot right on the underside there. Bring that in. It's a little bit tricky to do, honestly. Get that out of the way. There you go. And lock that in. Again, you got a little tiny pin hinge section right there. You can push that just to pull the little wire a bit towards the back side. Do that on this portion as well. Gonna get that there. Put that there. Keep it. There you go. Make sure that stays in nice and tight. Bring these down. Again, bring the head down. Here you can do whatever you want with these little wings. Especially these ones. These are kind of a personal preference sort of look. I just knocked this piece out, which I do wish it would tab in a little bit more securely, but it is what it is. So again, do with these how you see fit. Kind of angle them any really way. I mean, they do kind of flare, and you can do some crazy looks for them. Kind of like that, a little bit more, angle those up. But when you're done, there you have an incredibly cool looking Jetfire in his very crotchety, old man looking mode. While the vehicle mode does suffer from a little bit of kibble hanging off, let's be honest, quite a lot of kibble, it all comes together in terms of robot mode absolutely beautifully. This really is a terrific looking figure, and it can easily be one of the best in the Studio Series line. Now, as you can see, you can really get him hunched over and looking crotchety, like I said. He was depicted as being a very old, one of the original Autobots to come to Earth. What the movieverse referred to as the Seekers, or like Wheelie referred to him as the chairman of the board. And this figure absolutely nails that aesthetic. Now, coming in to take a closer look at his face, this extreme close-up brought to you by Oliver from TFCon. Hopefully you like this and you get a real good look at this ugly guy's mug, Oliver. It was great meeting you at the convention. Make sure that you say hi to your dad for me as well. But that face sculpt looks absolutely spectacular. I mean, you got these softer little pieces here with some nice color on the side. And then just overall, the entire kind of look has that. I mean, he had a lot of these weird beard-like panels that kind of drooped down. This is all a softer rubber material. And then underneath it, you can see a fairly humanoid-looking face. It's just absolutely spectacular. Like I said, great looking head sculpt on there. The rest of the detail on him has a lot of real nice molded in parts. You can see like this section here with some joints and everything. You got some wires there. You look at the chest. I'm just going to kind of straighten him out here a little bit so we can get a better look. Great textured detail here on the chest area. You got some nice glossy paint on here. There's a good mix of paint. You got a lot of blacks and dark grays. You got some silvers like in the crotch area. A whole bunch of looking gears. You look at his thighs, there is little turbines which look really good. Again, a lot of real nice detail thrown in there. You look at his hands, you can kind of see what's going on. You come around to look at the rest of his legs. Again, you got that whole chicken leg sort of thing. You got some nice glossy paint here on the leg, kind of breaking up some of the more matte paint detail. Come around to the back. Obviously, you have these various little wing bits hanging out there. You can see it all depends on how you want to angle them here in his robot mode. I kind of like leaving them up like that just to give a little bit of flair to them. You got these little panels right here that also look like panels from the jet mode that kind of fold out, which does nicely add some detail. For his weapons, storage, this is one thing I don't particularly like about his weapon. You got for way to hold his cane is a hole right here. It just plugs in, but that to me looks weird. I wish that there was a handle that you could articulate the fingers down. I don't like his hand just being straight out like that with that plugged up in there. I mean, that's kind of strange. Maybe if they had a handle that you could put in there and then you could rotate that hand. I don't know, but not a huge fan of how they incorporated that. Let me get him to stand pretty decent. And then you do have his axe here on the back. It stores just on this little wing panel. You got a little tab bit right on the inside there that just plugs into this. And then you take this guy and you plug it in right there. So again, not really looking like he's holding it. I mean, his hand's just constantly out like that. I mean, it's just kind of there. But hey, he's got weapons, I guess. So, cool, I suppose. First articulation, the head here at this section is on a neck joint. You can get him looking left and right, and then it looks up really high. So you can get a pretty good, and then it also rotates. So you can get a pretty good range of motion with it. These little bits here can move around, but you don't really need to move them around. Shoulders here are on swivels. You can rotate that around. They hinge in and out. Also have a swivel at the upper part of the elbow. Really nice bend there at the elbow as well. You got two joints here for the wrist, mostly as part of the transformation to get a full fold-up section here, but you do have a little joint down here and then another one a little bit further up. You also can rotate it, which is nice, because when I first got it, his hand was, I want to say out of the package, was like that, so I'm like, oh, that's going to suck, but you can rotate it, which is nice, so you can get a normal pose for him, and you can, ooh, yes, you can make him like Mr. Burns. Excellent. You can do that. Nothing here at the waist. Everything locks in, so you're kind of just stuck with it as is. But what I love are all the ratchet joints here in the legs. Very solid, as you can hear. You have a ratchet joint right there, forward and back. You can also hinge it in and out. You can rotate him at the thigh, but you got to be careful with this piece. So you can rotate that around. And then you come down here, you got a nice solid ratchet joint there. You have a nice solid ratchet joint at the lower section. The ankles here, they don't really rotate, oh no, you also have a rotation right there at that joint that I forgot about. But you can't really rotate, well, then I guess you can do that. The legs have lots of articulation, then the ankles have tilt. So you can get you can drop them. A lot of crazy poses with this guy, which you don't really need a lot, but it's great that it's there. Now, for some size comparisons, as I said, he is a leader class figure. And here's his wavemate Megatron. So, again, while I was saying, and I do have the legs more chicken leg like he's supposed to. I'm sorry I didn't do it in the video. So it does make him a little bit shorter, but you can see what I was kind of talking about, that even here in robot mode, while the vehicle mode, was roughly the same length, the engineering just didn't really translate to an overall, bigger representation of Megatron. Whereas you can see this does still say considerably bigger. I mean, that is a big difference. I mean, when you look front, back, side to side, he's just much bigger, much bulkier. I really do feel more deserving of that leader class title. And for a couple other figures, here he is with technically the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, although this figure here does not combine with this guy, which, it is what it is. And then here's the deluxe class Bumblebee. And finally, because I still have him in my collection for a little bit longer, because I actually did sell this guy, fully knowing that I was going to get this, here he is next to the Takara version of Jetfire, which has a much better paint job than the Hasbro one. But again, leader class figure, but just so much more clean. I mean, this guy doesn't do a bad job of looking how he's supposed to. And of course, they did also engineer in him the ability to combine with the leader class Optimus, so it really did add to his bulk, but this is just an overall much cleaner and far better looking representation of Jetfire. And before I send this guy away to be in another person's collection, I'd just like to say thank you, Jetfire. You filled in admirably, but now it's time to bid adieu and make way in my collection for this guy. Now, before we get to the transformation, I did forget to bring this in. He does come with his backdrop. It is a fairly large one, as the leader class figures are considerably bigger, but you can see that it is that Egyptian desert battle. You got the pyramids there in the background. You can take him, you can put him there if you want. And then he also does come with this little piece right here, which people are saying that this is meant for the upcoming leader class version of Optimus, which is just the Voyager with his trailer, but it is a Dark of the Moon sort of look. What I don't get, though, is that we're going to be using this mold, which you already have this piece, which this actually already can detach. It just pegs in there. So you just swap this out. Did I have that the right way? So you just swap that. It's exactly the same. So I don't really know why they need to give that to us, other than maybe they have a darker color. This color looks a whole lot more reminiscent of the color that we got with this version of Optimus. So I'm assuming that the Dark of the Moon version is going to have a darker paint scheme going with it. I just find it weird that they include this, because wouldn't they include this already? I mean, if they're using this mold, it's gonna have that already. So I don't necessarily get it, but you have this, and you can't use this with that original Optimus, because you can see his chest is different here, and these are like permanently attached. I tried pulling them out. They feel like they're glued in there. So I don't think that you can use this. So I don't know. I don't get that, but it is what it is, I guess, but that's what he comes with. Now for his transformation, we're going to come around here, rotate his hands around if he didn't, and then you got the little hole right here that hinges up and locks in right there. Do that on this side as well. Bring that up and around, and then you can just kind of hinge these out, get that out of the way. Come down here to these little side bits, detach those, fling those out to the side like so. Coming to the feet, we're going to extend these legs out, fold this piece up, take this, tuck this in, fold that like that, and then rotate this around. Then bring this, once you rotate that around, you bring that little hole section right there into alignment with that. And then you hinge this, and that will pretty much perfectly line up with that little piece right there. Then take this whole section, fold this, that will lock down into place. Then come to this thigh section here, rotate this around so that this little slot is facing up. Then you can take this and you can hinge this back. This whole piece is going to line up. And then continue rotating this all the way around so that you have this now open section. Then you want to take this, hinge this down, and this is going to collapse along the side right here. Keep this out like that. And then, like I said, this part I have a problem getting lined up properly with. It doesn't seem to hook in all that well. It wants to slide out. You got a little hook section right here, although right now it's lined up pretty perfectly, but that'll probably detach here in a bit. But once you have that, take this section, fold this, and that will tab into place just like so. See, I moved it and that detached. So this can be a little bit tricky to get hooked in properly, but you know, we'll fiddle with that here in a little bit. There, well, again, it seems like it slides up, but just kind of leave that down like so. So again, doing that on this side, tuck the little foot section in, rotate this section around, and then collapse this. You can extend that out. Collapse this up, lining this post with that little hole. Just slide that in just like so. Take this foot section, fold this all the way up like that, and then rotate this section around. And keep that there. Rotate this around. Let's go there. There we go. Bring the little gappy section out, and then you can fold this piece down. Keep this up. Rotate that down, and then hinge this piece down. Fold the little wing flap out, bring that all the way down. And then again, you got the little hooks right here. We'll play with those here in a bit. Hopefully we'll get it to work. Spread that out and then bring this up, lock that into place just like that. And then bring these legs down and then split this section right here. You don't have to really do too much right now. Just go ahead and split it. We'll worry about everything there later on. Come to this back section. You can detach this tabs in, and then these little bits, kind of get that out of the way, and then you want to fold all of this out from the back section. Just kind of pull this all out like that, and then accordion the entire torso all the way out like so. Straighten this piece all the way down like that. Now this part does get a little bit tricky. On the inside here is a little slot. You want to detach the shoulder, and then you got a little tab right here. For some reason, it's tricky to get that lined up. So most of it is because it's hard to see, but oh well, that went in there perfectly fine. But I always have a hard time seeing where it's supposed to go. So get that locked in. Yeah, see, like this one is being a pain because I can't really see what I'm doing there. So, and as you're pushing it in, this tends to want to rotate. So it is a pain in my butt to get that lined up. But just feel around, do the best that you can. Hopefully you'll get it right the first time. And you just kind of fight with it a little bit. And that's this part is honestly one of the trickiest aspects, and it really shouldn't be, but it is. Just trying to see where that it's this little post right there. You have to get in this little groove. There we go. And, all right, that's a pain in the butt. And then keep these straight like that. Then extend this whole thing so all of this is in the back, and then you're going to straighten that head out like that. So everything's going to be kind of straight like that. Take this, fold this, clip that down, extend that all the way forward onto his head just like that. You come around here to this, and then extend these hip pieces all the way up, and that should bring all of this into just about perfect alignment. And then you just swivel these in. They kind of rest along the side. Nothing really seems like it clips in. It just sits here like that. The ratchet joints do a pretty good job of holding everything into place, but otherwise they just kind of sit there. You have to take this then, fold this, collapse that down, and then collapse this down and make sure that this is totally flush. And then this is what actually kind of holds everything together. But again, you're in a position where you can't see what you're doing. There are tabs and everything on the underside that you have to kind of feel for and hope it locks in. And when you get it, this won't move around anymore. That'll lock in these wings along the side. So literally, if you have everything lined up properly, it should all tab in almost miraculously, because see, like that slides out. So you have to keep that in and really push down on this, and then it securely locks that in. Take these pieces, you can kind of bend this here, bring this up, and collapse this together. Squeeze these two sections like that, and then this comes in and then tabs down. Kind of just squish all that in there. And then again, these little wing sections here just don't stay all that secure down. So I mean, it's a little bit better this time doing it than the previous times that I practiced it, but it's still not really all that good. The head here, you want to make sure you push all that up. That locks it into place. Then take these little whiskers, bend those in like that, and make sure everything else kind of pushes together. These little flappy doodads come around here. You have a little tab that hooks into the underside of the wing right there. Do that on that side as well. So you can see it is a little bit more tricky going into his jet mode than going into his robot mode. That's usually the case, because you got to get everything lined up just right and perfect for this. And did I get that? No, that's actually pretty good right now. Yeah, this one's pretty good. This one's still a little bit derpy. So squeeze all that. Come around here. You have two little slots right here that these little grooves plug into. You just kind of put this here and then squeeze that in. And then the little cane thing, you just fold all this like that, kind of tab that into place. And then, like I said, literally all you do is you just kind of wedge this underneath here, and it kind of just sits there. You got the other little landing gear right there in the back, and a little lever to kind of pull that out right here. And when you're done, there you have Jetfire. No, well, almost. I almost had it. This is, there we go, push that all the way down. But finally, there we have him back in his jet mode. So yeah, while the transformation can be a little bit fiddly getting back into this mode, the overall figure is really well done. Jet mode is about what you would expect it to be. It's a jet with a robot on the bottom, which, as I said, this is a very thin jet. Like I said, this is about what a real SR-71's thickness is. All of this other stuff obviously wouldn't be there on a real jet, but you gotta put that stuff somewhere, and there's not a lot of places that you can hide it. So it makes sense why all that stuff is there. It really doesn't bother me that much. Transformation into his robot mode is easier than coming back, and regardless, it's much more enjoyable to transform both ways than that original leader was. But all of it comes together beautifully to give us a great looking Jetfire in his robot form. He has that presence that he had in the movie. Kind of grumpy, crotchety, looking like he's gonna fall apart at any point in time. This toy replicates it very nicely. And in a line where movie accuracy is really one of the most important things that they're going for, I feel like this is one of the best that they've done. Now, that's not to say that there's not a couple pieces on here that I don't like. The biggest being his hands. I don't like how he holds his cane just in a hole in his hand like he's blasting something. I think if they actually incorporated articulated fingers, that would have made things a lot easier, because obviously you need to have them flat for the vehicle mode, but if you could have articulated them, you could have been able to use that as a way to get him to hold his, both his axe and the cane in robot mode a little bit better. But that's probably the only thing that I would really do differently on this guy. Everything else is really good. So all that being said, if Jetfire here is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at various retail locations. So if you're looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's places such as Big Bad Toy Store. For that, I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll go to BBTS and you can check out availability on this guy as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, stay tuned for the Jetfire Optimus Prime combined video. I'll have that up shortly, so stay tuned. And remember, if you like this video, guys, I would really appreciate your support simply by hitting that little thumbs up button. That one small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Also, I want to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid. You're a true